Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get started and dive into this week's conversation. For most of my life, I thought that discomfort was a sign that something was wrong. But now I'm starting to wonder if discomfort is sometimes a sign that something important is happening. And I say that because almost every meaningful thing I've done over the past year started with discomfort. For example, starting this YouTube channel, starting two businesses, putting myself on camera, and sharing parts of my story publicly. And the interesting thing is, I thought that confidence would come first, but it didn't. I thought there would come a day where I felt completely ready, like some magical moment would happen where all the fear disappeared and I suddenly felt confident enough to move forward. That moment never came. However, I chose to continue to move forward by taking small steps. And I noticed that with each box I checked off, the more that I accomplished and the more that I learned, that my confidence started to build slowly. And it was in those moments that a realization came to me that confidence came after I started taking action, not before it. I want to dive a little deeper into how my comfort zone kept me safe. But before I do, I just want to emphasize that my comfort zone wasn't hurting me, it was protecting me. But eventually, what protected me also started to limit me. So while I was in my safe zone, I always stayed behind the scenes. I didn't put myself out there and I didn't share my story publicly. And I always stayed in familiar roles. And what I realized was that the more I did things that were outside of my comfort zone, and the more that I tapped into areas of myself that I hadn't tapped into before, a realization came to me. And that realization was that safety and growth don't always live in the same place. Ladies, I want to keep it real with you. Starting this YouTube channel terrified me. And it wasn't because I didn't have anything to say, it was because people would actually hear it. And also, even though I'm comfortable talking on camera and being on camera and seeing myself on camera, there's an added layer of vulnerability that comes with knowing that you're going to be seen publicly more frequently. And so that was something that constantly weighed on me while I was mulling around whether or not to do this YouTube channel. And then also the usual suspects. I had a fear of being judged, a fear of being criticized, and a fear of looking like a fool. And let's be honest, there's a difference between having an idea and sharing it publicly. One of them is private and the other is visible. And while I continue to keep it real with you, I think the realization for me was that being seen requires vulnerability. The fear of being seen and the discomfort that came with that created stories that I kept telling myself. For example, I kept telling myself, what if no one watches? What if people judge me? What if I'm not good enough? Or what if I fail? Or what if I embarrass myself? Um, Basically, I spent a lot of time preparing for things that never happened. And so most of the things that I feared existed only in my head. Hey there. If you're enjoying this conversation and it resonates with you, and you would like to explore more topics like this with me each week, I invite you to join the collective by clicking on the subscribe button below. Also, please remember to turn on your notification button so you receive notifications from me each week when I upload a new conversation. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to having you. For a long time, I thought that if something felt uncomfortable, it must be wrong. And now I'm learning that's not always true because I know it wasn't wrong for me to start YouTube or to explore entrepreneurship or for me to share parts of my story with you all. And I know it's not wrong to apply for stretch opportunities. And so I think the realization for me has been that Sometimes discomfort isn't a warning sign. Sometimes it's just evidence that you're growing. I wish I could tell you that eventually the fear disappears, because for me, it hasn't. The difference now is that I don't wait for fear to leave before I move forward. I'm still posting videos. I'm still looking at analytics. I'm still trying new things, and I'm still talking about my personal experiences. And through all of this, I'm learning that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's still moving forward while fear is sitting in the passenger seat. One thing I've learned through all of this is that discomfort gets louder when I don't slow down long enough to check in with myself. When I'm constantly moving, constantly thinking, or constantly trying to figure everything out, is when it's easy for me to lose sight of what's actually going on beneath the surface. And that's why I become really intentional about creating small moments to help me reflect, journal, and reconnect with myself. It's those moments that help me navigate uncertainty, fear, and growth a little more thoughtfully. So if you're someone who's also navigating a season of change, I'll link a few of the journals and tools that have helped me below. One final reflection about this topic for me would be that maybe the goal isn't to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Maybe the goal is just learning to trust yourself while you're uncomfortable. And as always, before I go, ladies, I'd like to leave you with my gentle reminder, and that is no matter what you're going through, please remember that up to this point, your success rate is 100% because you're still here and you're still standing. So please keep going. Please keep moving. Everything is going to be okay. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.